Hey everybody, this is Ocean Eagle, and I'm here with my wonderful friend, soul mate, in many ways, and just beautiful, amazing soul. My wonderful guest, Dr. Catherine Demetriades, who goes by Catatrix or Catatrix in the Matrix. And read off a little bit about what we're doing here today. Catatrix is an award-winning inventor. She invented the first actual intelligence in the world. She was awarded by ICANN Canada, August of 2019. That's the Inventors Conference, correct, Doc?
Yes. Yes.
The technology won 5 awards, 3 gold medals, and Special Inventors Award and Genius Award. She is also a multi-scientist and is here to speak about the biophysics of the behavior of COVID-19. Now, before I let you run, I will tell everybody, because she's not big on her education, but Dr. Cat has multiple PhDs and masters. She works at CERN, what is it, particle?
I'm a particle physicist at CERN and also a project leader for.
Yeah, she just is really probably the most amazing human being I've ever known, man or woman. So anyway, we're here to talk about COVID-19 and the biophysics of the behavior of it. And I'm so happy to be here with you. Anyway.
I'm so happy that you've invited me, Ocean Eagle. I can't thank you enough for letting me express what I have understood in the last few days in terms of how COVID-19 behaves on a biophysics level. Now, let's get to the technology that I had invented, and that is I called it Catatrix artificial intelligence.
Yeah. What does AI actually do? Yeah, what does it do?
Well, the actual intelligence, which I entered a robot prototype called Autismo, and the reason
why did you name it Autismo?
Oh, that's a nice question. Because I'm autistic, and I originally created Autismo so that nonverbal autistic children or adults could have their internal world expressed fully and be able to communicate with their parents or their loved ones.
Yeah.
That was the original idea behind Autismo. So yeah. Now Autismo is a technology that I called artificial intelligence, actual intelligence, as opposed to artificial intelligence. Reason being that artificial intelligence is direct computer programming. Yes, just like a Siri, just like, for instance, it's not able to tell you that you have a meeting on Monday unless you've programmed that you have a meeting on Monday, and then it can extract that information because you've programmed that. Now, actual intelligence, because Autismo is able to extract the influential matrix and emotional matrix on a DNA level, accessing the quanta. What is quanta? Quanta are bundles of light which emanate from the DNA, much like photography, if I were to explain it simply. Now, a photograph is photon, light, and graphy in Greek meaning to write. So therefore, an image, all those memories are written in the light. Yeah. So by being written in the light, accessing all your light, I'm accessing all the memories and all the traumas and all the emotions and all the thought patterns from the quanta. So basically what Autismo can do in a nutshell is access your subconscious mind in sequence.
Like all the stuff that I've done in therapy and all the wounding and childhood wounding and abandonments and traumas and abuse and neglect and even ancient stuff that I brought forward, it can read that.
Yes, I can understand. Autismo can also understand the let's say the genetic, what was genetically carried over as opposed to what has happened in
the genetic imprint.
childhood.
Yeah.
Correct. Now, I just a little bit of a background to understand why I'm speaking of the pattern and behavior of COVID-19 is I have a molecular background, and I treated about 20,000 patients. My job was to understand the cause of disease, so understanding where it comes from cellularly. So I've worked a lot with patients in terms of understanding where the disease is coming from or the disorder pattern on a physical level. I later was intrigued of how you think yourself sick. And I love the idea of the biophysics of the body, which is the energy that is literally just moving around in the body that eventually gets to the brain and makes us think and feel a specific way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what intrigues me is,
you and I were talking about how the word coronavirus or COVID-19 incites fear in people now. So when they hear those words, they instantly almost get sick. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
exactly. So trigger words, trigger scenarios, all of these pandemics are ancestral. Pandemics have been recorded on a cellular level, and they will ignite when fear is triggered and so forth. So one of the things that I did was I actually understood the way it behaves. Now, it is a living entity that actually enters the human psyche, which will then create the physical symptoms, and then work its way through its body, through the person's body, mind, spirit, and so forth. So now let's back up a bit. Whenever you have an influential experience when you're a child, and I say influential experience, it doesn't necessarily have to be a trauma. It could just be you changed schools, or your sibling was better at math than you were, or something like that, an influential experience. It could also be positive. Now, what happens is it is recorded on a cellular level, and now the electromagnetics in your body attract people, places, circumstances, events in order to attract the same type of disappointment, the same type of fear, the same type of whatever was recorded at the time. Now, you are programmed until you're 13 years old and reinforced and then you are on automatic pilot. So now the entity has grown into a monster of its own and has taken on its own intelligence. So now you are dealing with an entity of its own intelligence. It knows how to hide, it knows how to strike, it knows where to feed off of. And there you go. So
with all the trauma and stuff and all the things that happened in my childhood, there was, traumatic and abusive and stuff, that stored trapped coding or energy, if you will, on a cellular DNA level is sitting there, unhealed. Yeah.
So it feeds through the hormone system because it needs to feed somehow. Now, every single time your electromagnetics fire off, it will attract people, places, circumstances, events for the same emotion, not the same scenario. If you're not fighting with your spouse, you're fighting with your kids, or you're fighting with the neighbor, or you're fighting with yourself. So as long as that is reinforced, it is taking on its own intelligence. Now, in physics, when you observe a wave, it changes form. So this is why doctors, therapists can look at, sick people and not get sick from them because they're looking at disease in a different way. I mean, we're looking at things under a microscope, and we're very separated from it, and we're just observing it. I mean, imagine out of the 20,000 patients that I treated, I didn't, catch anything from them. So we do observe disease or disorder a certain way. Now, I want people to understand what disorder is. When an entity is more organized than you are in sequence, in any way, it will cause a disorder. So we need to be more synchronized than the disease itself. We need to be more synchronized than this monster. We need to be more organized.
So that means our inside has to be healthy. Our insides and our thought processes and, the way we feel inside is a manifestation of what can happen to us or what our exterior is like. Is that correct? Does that make sense?
Correct. But whenever a disease is more organized than you are, it takes over. Now, in COVID-19, I understand that it is an entity that has taken on its own intelligence in which it has used the laws of similars to invade humans by igniting the ancestral memories of the past to enter into the now and the future. So when a thought, trauma, emotion, or any type of similar radiation is energetically programmed on a cellular level, the monster will feed through the hormone system in order to get its fix. And it will drain a human of life force and use all its possible mental weaknesses to manifest into the physical.
So we're going to uncover the patterns of COVID?
Possibly not on this specific interview. I am publishing a paper scientifically. I've already published an article in the Transhumanist magazine, and I will be speaking at their conference on the 21st. I'm here to make people understand how a disease pattern comes to be, because everything is frequency. And I deal with quantum devices that we use scalar field technology to understand every frequency of cell. I can get about 10,000 medical accurate reports in about a minute with frequency. Yeah. FDA approved, EU approved devices. We're not talking about any kind of like new age stuff. We're talking about, actual medical devices. We know that organs, cells, everything has its own frequency. So when it's off, we know that there's a disruption in that energy.
I want to make sure I get the information from you on the transhumanist conference that you're speaking at, so that we can share that with people through your Facebook, my Facebook, and the groups we're involved with, and also even on my webpage. So I'd like to get that out there so people can find you when you do that.
So when most definitely, and thank you for that. We need to understand that a virus or an entity that enters will use the law of similars. The law of similars is it will enter because it's foreign. It's a foreign energy. It's going to use something that is similar to it to trick you so that it can enter your body. It is not possible for it to enter your body or to overtake you if you don't allow something similar. So if you're in fear and you're in a specific type of fear, it is able to enter through the senses, which are nose, mouth, eyes, touch. Okay. So COVID works. I will get into more detail in another. But it basically works with fear. Then there's a polarity of that. So fear, stomach. So you've got the nausea, and then you've got the senses, and then you've got the diarrhea symptoms, which is it'll hit the colon. Because there's a polarity. There's like energy bouncing back and forth, and making sure that it's pulling you left, right, left, right, left, right, and never allowing you to see things on a higher perspective. And it later on goes on to the circulation. And that's where it will create the blood clotting, which is so fatal to the people who unfortunately weren't able to beat it. Yeah. And then the lungs.
Mm.
not allowing you to breathe and losing oxygen. And
Well, it makes so much sense that, the healthier the inside, the healthier the immune system, the healthier we are in general. And that's why I'm such a strong advocate of people's the diets and people, on a physical level. We obviously got the emotional side of things, we have the physical side of things. We have to maintain ourselves spiritually, emotionally, but we also, our diets in the world is so poor for most people. So I know that's something that's changing, but I know you're a nutritionist as well. Jack.
actually, yes, that was how I first
Yeah,
started.
yeah.
I studied disease nutrition, so and
Licensed
understood
in
like,
California, is that right?
pardon?
Licensed in California?
Yeah, my education was in California for nutrition. Yes.
Right, right. Yeah. I know I can go off on all kinds of amazing things about you because I know it all, but not all of it, but I'm never surprised. So what do we need to tell people? What can we tell them about this? What's the message, besides what it's doing and how it's acting and what your AI can do? What can we tell people?
Well, understand that I actually ignited all the ancestral memory inside of me in order to give myself the COVID patterns energetically so I could go, which caused symptoms.
Yep, you were
Which
calling me with fevers. You were calling me with fevers.
yes.
Was your fevers. So yeah.
Yes, I had the fevers, I had the nausea, I had all the aches and pains and everything that, just about, so that I could go through it, so that I would understand mentally how to combat it. And one of the things that a big message I'd like to give to people is resentment. Resentment is how the blood clots are created. So,
the book of Alcoholics Anonymous has the first thing you do when you write your 4-step in the Alcoholics Anonymous is you write your resentments list. And the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, which I actually have right here next to me, it talks about that resentments and anger kill more people than anything. Yeah.
well, I've proven that to myself in the last few weeks by doing this self-experiment. But yeah, definitely. So that's where the blood clots in specific areas. Either it would be liver, or it would be kidney, or it will be lungs. People are in comas prior to that. Now, depending on what type of resentment you have, is where the blood clot is going to form.
So it's associated with certain organs?
Yes, thought patterns are associated with certain organs. Emotions are associated with certain organs. It's energy in motion, therefore emotion.
Nice. Yeah.
And so, let's not forget the polarity. As long as there's a polarity, you just can't be free from it. Now, here's an interesting thing. Each one has 6 triggers in which it will make sure it has a hold on you. So let's say you have a thought pattern and you do this positive thinking and you want to, get rid of it somehow. It's got 6 triggers in which it will make sure that it triggers you in 6 different angles, so that even if you figure out the 5, the other one will get you. And unless you're free from those 6 triggers, the ongoing thought pattern is not able to be resolved.
Transmuted. Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
So we really need to get into a consciousness of, yes, we all know that everything is energy, but we really have to know that. and diseases are energy, and so are everything, basically everything. Cells, organs, disorders.
Yeah. One of the things I tell people all the time is that we have a truth, and we have our essence that we're born with, or our purpose, if you will. I call it my essence. And even whether I mentally know what that is or I don't know what it is, when I'm making choices and decisions in life that go against my internal blueprinted essence, I walk around in fear and anxiety because I walk a fraud to myself. And my body on a physiological DNA cellular level knows that choice I'm making goes against my inner core being. And I think that for me, that was true. So when I let go of so many things in my life and did the inner work to really find what that is and then live that every day, that's when all my fear and anxiety went away for me.
Now that's very interesting because I said the entity COVID-19 will use the law of similars because you are a unique being. You are you, I am me, and everyone is an individual. The closer you are to yourself, the more impossible it is for an entity to enter because it cannot duplicate you.
Yes. Yeah, right. No, oh, that's so amazing.
Right? It's not possible for it to duplicate you. It's causing chaos, fear, as you know, the cliche, false evidence appearing real.
Yes.
You know, it's just an illusion in your mind that is causing you to be disrupted, and you're not yourself. So there's no way that you could be so centered and so yourself, and so it can't use anything. It can't use chaos. It can't use.
Yeah, that makes so much sense to me because I realized after 45 years of living that if my life wasn't chaos and disrupted and messy, I didn't feel comfortable because that's what I was used to growing up as a child. So my insides was creating my outsides. So it makes so much sense that now that I've cleared myself enough to where I can really see it and I've surrendered to my own personal self, that all my fear and anxiety and went away and my health issues, and I started eating right along with it and managing myself physically. So yeah, everything's tied together. That makes perfect sense.
And people need to look at energy differently. Like you're not drained of energy. You have an endless amount of stored energy. What we need to do is stop what is hindering it. You have enough energy in your body to light up a city. Okay, there's enough electricity to light up a city.
Well, because you never sleep.
Well, I've decoded myself so much, Ocean Eagle, that I could get all kinds of stored energy and use it.
And everything you do is because your heart's so big and you just care about this planet and the world and beings. You're such a beautiful human being, as well as this, Catatrix.
Thank you so much. I'm happy you think so. So we have an endless amount of stored energy, and we just need to stop what's blocking it, whether it's unsuitable food, whether it's unsuitable thoughts, negative energy, and so forth. And everything is radiation. Stress is radiation. It's a form of radiation. So there's actual radiation that is happening in the organs, and the more you
How's that going?
feed that monster, the more it's gonna give you a radiation breakdown.
You do the woo.
It's just, guys, I can imagine it's like, it's because I see it in the test. That's why.
I like the visual.
So and then it just bounces off like a ping pong ball, and it's just like there, and it's just tricking you. It's tricking you. It's not. You're never actually having your own personal thought. It is generated by memories and influential experiences. Keep in mind that not only are half the trauma is on the situation, the other half is on the object. So if you were around an object of some kind, a car, a tree, you were in the streets, there are subcategories of all that. So you could imagine how many triggers exist. It could be the car was red. It could be a fire engine went by. You're eating an ice cream. And so many of those subcategories are enough to just trigger that again. So
along with the article you published in, was it
Transhumanist magazine.
But you're getting ready to publish somewhere else.
I'm getting ready to publish probably several papers. I'm going to have to because it's quite a big understanding that I'd like to project to the world. And yes, a scientific paper on the biophysics of COVID-19 virus in general.
So just for the people that are watching, I know there's a show out there that's pretty popular called Big Bang Theory.
Yes.
And you happen to know
My
the
favorite.
people. You happen to know the people that was based on. Is that
Yes,
correct?
I do. I worked with those people, and yes, and they're my friends. Dr. Smoot is a Nobel Prize winner, and he made sure that all the physics lingo was, he consulted the show basically, and he made sure that all the physics lingo was correct on the show and so forth. So one of my best friends, or probably my best friend in CERN, is the original Leonard. There's only one Raj in there, and I don't know who Sheldon is, but
people that don't know what CERN is, that is the particle exploding. Fill me in again.
Yes, we're the home of the Large Hadron Collider, the most amazing place on this planet, which I have the honor of working there.
Yeah.
I've been there since August of 2008.
Wow, that's 12 years. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yes, that's a long time, and I'll be there forever, hopefully.
Do we need to wrap it up? Are we good for now? Are you solid?
Unless there's any other questions you'd like to ask.
No, we can go so many different places, but let's save them for other interviews. We'll do some more. So,
okay, so as I get deeper into this,
what's that?
As I get deeper into this, and I've published more, and I'm coming out with, I just want to say that I'm coming out with a SMART movement, stored memory access retrieval technique, to teach people how.
What does SMART stand for again? What's the acronym? What does it stand for?
Stored memory access retrieval technique.
Nice, yeah.
Or you're able to be fully aware of what sort of thoughts and emotions are entering your system, so that you can become more of yourself and not allow foreign entities to enter your being.
When did you develop that?
Yes, it's already developed. I just need to put it in a way where it's more simplified and accessible to people. So the SMART movement is all about creating all this awareness and having a worksheet where you could work through these energies inside your body, these thought patterns, and understanding how to become as strong as possible and closer to yourself, so that things like this don't affect you.
Nice. And I know that you and I are, we've talked a lot about dreaming in potential. We don't know what they are exactly yet. Potential workshops around some of this stuff that maybe we'll be dreaming in at some point.
Yes, possibly like online courses, retreats of some kind, where people can just go off and get a completely new understanding in different perspectives, different dimensions, and come back with a completely new perspective in life in a very short period of time.
Yeah, and we're talking about Akashic Records and going deep in the old stored memory and old stored energy. Yeah, going deep, thousands of years.
Yes.
Let's all go back to Egypt together. I'm in.
Yes. Just for
Dr. Cat lives over in that area.
Who don't know me, just for your crowd who doesn't know me, I'm also a mystic, an alchemist, an Egyptologist, and recreated the perfumes from the days of the pharaohs.
She just kind of wanted to know how to make the perfume for the Isis and the Egyptian queens ruled the men with. So she got a PhD in Egyptology so she could do the hieroglyphs. And
well, I had to learn how to read hieroglyphs so I could go in and know what an ancient queen smelled like.
So for any of you women out there that would like to learn, not have to figure out how to control your man, you can buy some of her perfume and you got it. It's over. It's a game over perfume for us men. So be careful buying that for women for Christmas.
That's a good name for it. It's not Cleopatra at all. No, it's
Game over perfume.
Well, a lot of inventors are mystics and alchemists, by the way.
In a glass bottle that is in the shape of a dagger.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they were warriors.
Yeah.
They were not timid women, definitely.
So how can people get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you? I know you have several.
Well, I do have a page called Catatrix in the Matrix, and you could follow me on there.
Highly recommend it. Yep.
And my email is askcatatrix@gmail.com for anybody who has any scientific questions. I tried to keep it as simple as possible for people to understand. And we can just take a specific subject next time, or the pattern and how people can have a worksheet that can work through this pattern. And so I'm very excited about the SMART movement because it's time for people not to hear the word Corona or COVID and not have a solution for it. So far, there's only a problem. There's not a solution. And I believe
they get sick when they just hear the words.
Exactly. And I believe that 2020 is the year for inventors. This is the year where, inventors are all going to pull together. We're in a different mindset, and we're solution-oriented people. So
and I want to keep in mind that Autismo won countless awards at the International and Inventors Conference in Canada last summer. So I'm so proud of you for that. What an achievement.
Thank you.
And I know you had a lot of people that weren't on board with you doing that as you were doing that.
Oh, everyone thought I was crazy. Everyone thought I was crazy.
You are, but crazy.
For many, many years. I mean, a lot of my physics colleagues, and they were just like, what are you doing? What are you're extracting subconscious mind from, what are you? Yeah, you're just, yeah.
Perfect.
I don't know.
Perfectly.
I don't even want to talk about it because it's different. It's different to be a multi-scientist. A multi-scientist, in order to invent something and make it complete, you need to understand different angles of it. So, of course, if I only understand medicine or only understand physics or only understand psychology, it's not going to make sense. So, it's a mechanism that all comes together. And alchemy and ancient knowledge, the reason I studied the ancients is because they were the first scientists.
Yes, yeah. Taught by Thoth.
Yes, so they were the first scientists. They were the first alchemists. So people think that it's irrelevant, but it's very relevant.
Well, but that information and knowledge maybe came from even ancient times, even before that. When we get into
I would not have been able actually to create Autismo if I wasn't able to go that far back in DNA and ancestral memory, and because in order to create the future, we must understand the wisdom of the past.
Yeah.
In everything.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so grateful for this interview.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Love you so much, you know that. So, all right, this is Ocean Eagle signing off, and say namaste and aho to everybody out there. Blessings.